Dear students, welcome to the series of world history. I hope you've already seen the first topic, which was industrial revolution, and I've discussed about a very popular question like why did IR industrial revolution take place in Britain? So here we are to begin with the second chapter of world history, that is the American Revolution. So I've given you two brackets here. 1773 to 1775, because the Boston Tea Party took place in 1773 and we have the war came to an end in 1781. So some text will give you actually 1781 to 1783. So I'm giving you both the brackets so that to avoid confusion. So if you look at America, America was discovered by Christopher Columbus. Getting it? So see, the medieval world was a period of voyages. So there were plenty of voyages conducted in the medieval world, and Portugal was a major country which initiated these voyages under its ruler Henry the Navigator. So many Italians, many Spaniards, many Portuguese, they all wanted to take these voyages. Now comes Christopher Columbus in 1492, funded by Isabella and Ferdinand of Spain. So he took three ships and he traveled towards the Pacific, thinking that he would find a route to India. And he landed at the Bahamas, later discovered America. So from then on, people got to know about the new world. So, and the land was named as America after the famous Portuguese sailor called Amerigo Vespucci. From then on, everyone started knowing about the land called America. There's a land called America. So a new land, people can go and settle. There were plenty of reasons for migration. The Catholic fathers were sent to the new land by the Britishers. Many political prisoners were exiled to the new land. And there were many business groups who wanted to go to the new land and establish their business. In England, the rich was, selling and, having that slavery concept. So to escape from these evil practices, many slaves ran to the new land. So by 1600, we see at America, there were 13 colonies. There were 13 colonies at America by 1600. If you look at the 13 colonies, so they were like New Hampshire, you have New Jersey, you have the New Yorktown, New York, you have Maryland, you have Rhode Island, you have Connecticut, you have Pennsylvania, you have Delaware, you have North Carolina, South Carolina, you have Georgia, you have Virginia, the first colony to be established. Getting it? Then we have Georgia, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Maryland, New Jersey. Yeah. So I've written 12, I'll add one more. So there were 13 colonies in total. To give a clear idea, I'm just showing you the 13 colonies. So these were the 13 colonies. So you need to know them. The northern one being the New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia. So the southern one is Georgia, the northern one being New Hampshire. So these were the 13 colonies. So here the colony was Massachusetts. So you get altogether, you get 13 colonies. So gradually many settlers started settling in these colonies. Britain sees them as a colony, but these colonists are seeing them as a separate country, a separate land. So what were the reasons for the American Revolution? When you go to the causes, what are the causes for the American Revolution is, the first cause, what we see is, there was an ideological clash. There was an ideological differences between the mother country, between Britain and the colonists. So there was an ideological clash. Britain thought them to be a colony, but they claimed them to be an independent kingdom. The second thing, Britain did series of acts. Britain passed series of acts which actually made the colony to suffocate. Say, for example, there was in 1651, there was an act passed called the Navigation Act. This is the first act passed by Britain to the colony, according to which no one should trade, no colony should trade with any other country. They should trade only with Britain in British ships, and the British merchants will only carry on the trade. So after that, we had plenty of series of acts coming up. We have the Currency Act, we have the Molasses Act, we have the Sugar Duty, we have the Stamp Duty, we have the Townshend Laws. Plenty of acts were all passed by the Britishers, so which made, that is why the Britishers, the Americans came up with a slogan called "No taxation without representation." Do not tax us without representing us. So this became the famous slogan of the American Revolution. The third cause was it is intellectual awareness. The Americans were naturally aware because they were highly educated. They had the Harvard School, the Dartmouth College, getting they had the Yale University. So they had, they had all these, the Harvard University. This naturally made the Americans scientifically temperament. They had that scientific stuff. So, education was brimming there. They had one of the world class education, which naturally made them aware. Plus, there were many leaders like Benjamin Franklin, Samuel Adams, Pethick Lawrence, James Otis, so getting it, Jefferson. So, all these leaders, they were giving some sort of ideas telling that let's fight with the Britishers. Then the next one, we have the impact of the 7 Years' War. See, 7 Years' War was fought between 7 Years' War was fought between Britain and France. So it was from 1756 to 63. The 7 Years' War was fought in India, which was a reflect of the Third Carnatic War. It was fought in Africa. It was fought in America. It was fought in Europe. So in Europe, when you see between Britain and France, now the war was going so intense. So the British Parliament lacked soldiers. So they told the governors who were there in America that you train the youth of America for the 7 Years' War. For the first time, the American youth are learning the training. So once they started the art of fighting, Americans are knowing how to fight. So this naturally gave them a strength to fight with the Britishers. So the impact. And here in this war, the 7 Years' War, we have a great commander who led the forces was George Washington. So later he became the president of America, who was here. Then the next one, we see that what were the causes here is Americans' love for freedom. Americans wanted freedom. They never wanted to be under the control of any superpower, and particularly the Britishers. So all these made Americans to fight with Britishers, and two battles were fought. Getting it? The Battle of Saratoga and the Battle of Bunker Hill. Battle of Saratoga and the Battle of Bunker Hill was fought, and finally in 1781, Britain was defeated. America won the war. So Lord Cornwallis surrendered at Yorktown. George Washington led the American forces and they won. In 1783, the Bill of Rights was constituted, which became America's, constitution, the world's first written constitution. See, I'm just giving you a glimpse of what exactly happened. I am not going into the details. To learn all the details of what all happened here, do join our classes so you will be benefited. And I would be teaching you how to write an answer as well, because world history is for mains. So each and every topic, you need to structure it in such a way that you know the background, you know the causes, you know the course, you know the impact. So whatever way UPSC rotates a question, you should be able to handle the topic. So America attained independence and the constitution was written. America chose the presidential form of government. So after the American Revolution, America followed the policy of isolation. Thank you.